down in the year when playoff time does come around. I don't know whether your coach wants to agree with that or not, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to come down here, and they get to see the face behind the helmet, and that's what it's all about, giving you guys all the credit you deserve for the success your team is having this year. Poland High School's finest right here on the offensive line. We'll be back with more. I think we got our special guest lined up next for us. I think he's in the house. That'll be Ron Potesta next on Yards After Contact from Kelly's Bar on Mahoney Avenue in Youngstown, Ohio. And welcome back to Kelly's Bar for our final segment here with everybody knows Ron Potesta from 1390, the sports animal, WNIO. Ron?
You've saved the worst for last. I appreciate it.
Well,
and look at this. You had a crowded place here at Kelly's. Bring the ugly guy on. This place empties out like nobody's business. I love it.
Oh, Ron, there's nobody quite like you with the face made for radio.
Amen to that.
I appreciate it.
I wear it proudly.
I appreciate
I don't need. Who the hell needs a Halloween mask? I got my Halloween mask. I wear it 365.
It's not October yet, okay?
Exactly.
Or whatever.
I wear it 365 days a year. They go, "What are you going to dress up as for Halloween?" I'm like, "Ugly DJ."
I got to ask you real quick before we get in high school. YSU, great effort. Little
Fantastic
short.
effort.
Your thoughts?
I don't believe in moral victories. I really don't.
But neither does Bo, obviously.
But neither does Bo. And I pleaded with Bob Hannon. Hey, ask him if he believes in moral victories, and then duck when you ask it. Now, I just think if there is such a thing, Saturday's game would be in that file. I mean, think about it. They're down 21-0 at halftime. Coach Pelini challenges the team at halftime and says, hey, look, either you're going to suck your thumb and go in a fetal position the rest of the game, or stand up, punch the bully in the face, and let's see what happens. They stood up, they punched the bully in the face, took the game into overtime, didn't win the ball game, but they performed well. They performed really well.
Did you expect this?
No.
Honestly.
I thought they'd get beat by double digits.
And it looked that way.
And they looked that way in the first half. Thankfully, they turned things around a little bit in the second half.
So, real quick, your prognosis for the season for the Penguins right now?
They will be as good record-wise as they were last year, and with any luck,
a little better?
They'll finish the deal this year.
So you got them all the way.
I mean, you got to have a lot of luck once you get into the playoffs.
You realize when you predict them to go all the way,
I'm not gonna say they're gonna go all the way because that's the death knell.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to put the Maluki on YSU because Bo will go after me, and frankly, he can kick my ass. So I'm gonna kind of shy away from that.
Well, you put the Maluki on Trevor Bauer, and he's been fantastic ever since.
Well, I put the Maluki on him, but he's too stupid to know better, so it's all good. Nuke LaLoosh is on fire, baby.
Hey, real quick, do you know your prediction on Ohio State, Oklahoma, without getting into the game? Because I want to know if I'm good or not for this weekend.
I had said that if Ohio State was going to lose one game this year, it would be to Oklahoma.
Okay, so you got Oklahoma beating Ohio State?
I'm not going to say that because I don't want to put the Maluki on them.
Say it.
For the sake of, I think Ohio State can beat Oklahoma, just for the sake of putting the Maluki on Buckeye Nation. It's you can never do a reverse Maluki, so it's what it is.
High school football, you had Western Reserve and second week in a row against a very tough South Range ball club.
Very, very good South Range team. I'm not going to say that they're going to go the distance, but Friday's game was state championship caliber. That was an unbelievable performance by South Range.
We tried to get Yeagle here tonight, but maybe next week if possible. Tell us about 44, a couple guys on their team that just playing incredible.
Yeah, well, Bizzacco's the engine that makes the offense run. His quarterbacking abilities are unbelievable. And then you got Remish the bowling ball, 5'11", about 210, and he's tough to tackle. And
he's a tough nut.
He was very difficult for Western Reserve, but they did hold him to under 100 yards. The problem was Bizzacco was just going bing, bang, boom to all of his receivers, and he doesn't have a really big receiver. I mean, all of his receivers are under 6 feet tall, but they were all fearless, going over the middle, going past the secondary. Western Reserve committed 4 turnovers, and it didn't help their cause. Their running game was stopped cold.
Capabianca, nothing?
Nothing. That defense and offensive line by South Range completely dominated Western Reserve all night long.
Can they sneak in somewhere down the road?
I think Western Reserve will be a factor in D6. I think they're going to be a playoff team, but I think South Range is just, if they don't win the state championship, Gare, I think South Range is going to make a long, long playoff run where they get into the regional finals, and let's see if they can win their region this year.
Well, we've had Larry Kemp on here tonight.
Yep.
Your thoughts on the Irish? 1-1, lost
well,
to
my thoughts
Benedict.
on Larry Kemp is he was one of my favorite history teachers.
Latonia.
I mean, at least he didn't flunk me by like some other teachers in Latonia my freshman year. We'll leave them out of the equation. But Coach Kemp had pity on the stupid kid and said, "Yeah, I'll just give you a D- and let you scoot past." But by my senior year, I realized that in order to get on Coach Kemp's best side, you had to pick Latonia 10 out of 10 weeks. So finally recognized that, and he gave me a passable grade my senior year.
So you have to pick Urson 10 out of 10 weeks now, too?
Oh, hell no. He ain't my teacher anymore. Screw you, Larry Kemp. No. I'm kidding. He's another guy that I don't want to be on my bad side. So, no, listen, he's got a nice team.
Schedule brutal?
Oh, it might be a little teeny bit,
Little
you know.
bit.
I mean, who do they have this
Can
week?
they overcome it? They got, yeah.
Do they have the Steelers
They
on
got
their
Hoban
roster?
there. Yeah, they
anytime?
might as well.
Yeah, I mean, they got Hoban this week. They got
Maslin,
yeah.
Boardman, Harding.
Steubenville's on that schedule.
Steubenville.
You know, no truth
Mooney.
to the rumor. No truth to the rumor that the practice squad of the Browns will be Week 9. I just crazy schedule. But the good news is, if he wins 5 games,
He seemed confident he gets 6 and maybe 7.
if he does,
I don't know those numbers.
If he does,
I hope he can.
he'll
that
he'll
means
be a factor in the
they have to
playoffs.
play some football.
He'll be a factor in the playoffs, because I'll tell you right now, any Division IV team not named Cardinal Mooney, he's going to look at the schedule and go, "Yeah, we played better. We'll be ready for this game. We've played better." That's why you schedule really good teams
But
in
you
your
got to make it.
regular
Though.
season.
Hopefully, they didn't schedule too many good teams.
Well, that's the thing.
It's going to keep them out of it.
That's the thing. I mean, if you schedule too many good teams, maybe you don't get into the playoffs, because you do have to win some of these games. In order to have the second level points, you got to win the game.
Well, you mentioned Mooney, and that's who Urson plays this week, Hoban.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, real quick, on the Cardinals? Were you expecting them to?
They ran into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the defending Division III champs, and
They
spoiler
lost
alert.
lost a lot of guys.
Yeah,
too.
but spoiler alert, Garrett, they're going to get back into the D3
Yeah.
tournaments and make a deep, deep run. I mean,
guess
that's
so.
a good
Freshman quarterback,
solid
though.
team.
That's hard to imagine.
Crazy good
Hoban.
team.
Yeah.
I mean, they played very well against Mooney. I'm going to be real curious to see how Ursuline handles them.
We had Gerard here tonight. Do you know much about Gerard, Pat Pearson, what he's got going on over there? They play Kennedy this weekend.
Hold on a second. Oh yeah, they just scored again. Yeah, okay.
That's
that's
Mark
what
Wade.
their offense. That's what their offense is. Boom, 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 boom. Score, 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 score. I mean, Wade is one of the best quarterbacks in this area.
One of the
And
best?
One of the best.
Not the best.
One of the best. I'm not going to say who the best is.
Okay.
You can't.
He's
after
one of
2
the
games,
best. Sure.
He's on a short list.
Okay.
He is. Mitch Davidson in Salem is.
Like him.
A couple of other guys you can make a good
O'Hara's
case
having
for.
a good year for Boardman.
Absolutely. And I'm going to throw Bazzaco's name out there as well from South Range. He's having a fantastic year.
How about Brungard? How's he doing down there?
Brungard has
Springfield?
been hot and cold. We have him this week. They play
Against?
Columbiana
Okay.
in Springfield. Columbiana, pardon me, Clipper fans. I mean, I am a Latonia grad. I didn't personally mean to screw your name up. I wouldn't be that unprofessional,
Yeah.
okay?
No, not
The
Ron.
Coconuts, Columbiana. No, they had a great come from behind win against McDonald.
You got to stop with these grudges from high school years.
No, if I talk about my high school years, that means I'm young.
well,
Okay.
Don't talk about your high school.
Pay no attention to the gray hair that's all on my head right now, and the fact that I was a server at Christ's Last Supper. No, I'm not old. Trust me, not yet. I'm not Denny Liebert old, but you know.
Oh, that's our guy, didn't we? And I miss him after Friday night.
He's the best.
terrible.
He's the best.
Real quick, Poland's here tonight as well. Was here. Ryan Williams off to a great start.
Poland is having a wonderful start, and
Can they make noise?
I hope they do. I really hope they do. I mean, week number 1 when they beat the snot out of Marlington, I was like, okay, this could be interesting. So, I hope they can continue to do their thing. That's when Poland is good, this area is much better.
I know you have to do a little homework with your radio show. Any other teams in the area that you're excited about?
Well,
from the
South
first couple
Range, I'm
weeks?
very excited about them. I'm very excited about Gerard, Poland. I'll tell you what, I
Does
want to
Mooney's
see.
loss do anything for you?
No, because Hoban's a good team.
Okay.
I mean, let's see what Mooney does next week. Let's see what Ursuline does with Hoban, if they can play with them. They did for the first 3 quarters last year before Hoban pulled away and wound up winning the ball game. I'm curious, not that I'm pimping my product, 1390 the Sports Animal Friday night in Springfield, Columbiana Springfield. Not that I would be promoting that. Yeah, watch the game. Anyway, not that I would be promoting that, but I want to see just how good Columbiana is. They were down big to McDonald early on. Unbelievable come from behind victory at Firestone Park last Friday night against McDonald. I want to see what they do against Springfield.
I know you're a Crestview guy kind of as well.
Yeah.
Was that a good game?
Paul Cusick's team should have won that game.
Yeah.
They had him down with about 2.5 minutes to go in the game and gave up an 80-yard touchdown run. I'm very surprised that they were able to basically hold their own and then some against that gigantic offensive line from Struthers. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Crestview does. And I told Coach Yeagley this on my show, Saturday morning high school football show, 8 to 10, Sports Animal 1390. Cheap plug, I know,
Shameless.
but have you seen my ratings lately? Yeah, I need to do that. Anyway, I was talking with Coach Yeagley on Saturday morning, and I said, being independent might be the best thing that's happened to your team come playoff time, because you are scheduling a ton of really good teams. Same thing with Crestview. Crestview is over-scheduling in terms of their talent. And you hold your own against a really good Division III team like Struthers. Let me tell you something. If Crestview and South Range both get into the playoffs in D5, be very weary of those two teams, because they're I don't even want to say non-conference, because they're not in a conference. Their schedules this year are brutal for D5 programs, especially South Range.
Let me ask you real quick. Boardman's off to a good start. They play Massillon Jackson. Is this a make or break game for them?
Remember last year?
Yes.
They upset Mooney.
2-0.
And everyone went ballistic, and all the players started resting on their laurels at the high school.
So what do you think?
I think Coach Ignacio, the moment they got into the locker room, pretty much said, we were 2-0 last year, and look how you guys responded. Remember that. I want to see what they do against the good Massillon Jackson team. But this is not last year's Boardman team. They're very talented, and they're going to be a lot better than this past year's team.
Any other team excite you in this area? Anybody?
I want to see what Warren Harding does with Massillon, Washington this weekend. I would hope that they're going to have a much, much better game than what they played against McKinley in week number 1. And I'll tell you what, the game of the year to this point will be Saturday night at Mollenkopf Stadium, Girard and JFK.
And you give the edge too?
I'm not going to say.
Oh, you have that game?
I don't have that game.
Well, come on.
I don't want to put the Maluki on
That's
a team.
okay. Who do you like?
Honestly, I think Girard wins this game.
Okay.
But now, having said that, JFK will. There you go.
Well, I think you might get one right.
Well, maybe.
It's possible.
I'll tell you this. JFK in the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out just how good this D7 powerhouse is. Because they got Girard this Saturday night at Mollenkopf. And next Saturday night, they got Paul Cusick's Crestview Rebels. We'll see how good they are.
You got to go to either Ohio State, Oklahoma, or Kennedy and Girard. Boy, I don't know. That's, if you're a fan of those schools, what do you do on that night?
Well, if you're a fan of those schools, you beg, plead, and say,
Yeah,
Ron,
change the
please
game.
don't
Afternoon.
pick my team. That's what you do.
How's the radio show going? On your shameless 1390?
Shameless plug to Sports Animal 1390.
12 to
Before
3.
Munch on Sports 3 to 6. Listen to him. The crazy old man knows a little bit about sports. I mean, come on, he's good people.
Maybe we'll bring him down here one weekend.
Munch here?
Think you could pull that off for us?
Oh, I
Bring
got
him
him
down
in
here
my
on a
back
Tuesday?
pocket. Anything I say,
He'll
when
leave
I
after-
when I
the
say
show's over at 6, get in the car and get down there.
When I say jump, Munch looks at me and says, "How high?"
Sure.
That's how much pull I have.
And will the Indians win the World Series this year?
And by the way, if you believe that, I have oceanfront property in Kansas to sell you.
Will the Indians win the World Series this year?
I hope and pray that they do.
Can they?
They can, absolutely. But you got to get lucky.
Pitching's impressive.
Got to get lucky. They're off to a good start, though.
Well, thank you, Ron, for coming down. Appreciate it. Again, we're on Friday. Shameless plug, 2 to 3.
Shameless plug, 2 to 3.
Buckeyes,
Gary
high
House,
school
too,
football.
in studio. See, he does something for me. I do this for him. It's all good.
All good. That's how
It's
we
all
roll.
good. It's how we roll.
Ron Potessa, 1390, the Sports Animal. Check him out during the week, 12 to 3. And on every Tuesday night when we do the show, you'll see it when we get out of there on YouTube, probably later in the week on a Thursday or so.
And I'm sorry that I offended you people. I don't look good. I'm sorry. It's just It's just how it is. I'm sorry.
We call him Ropo affectionately, and thanks, Ron, for coming down.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back with our final segment on Yards After Contact from Kelly's Bar in Youngstown, Ohio on Mahoney Avenue. Thank you.
This is the late Walter Cronkite reminding you to tune in every Monday through Friday from noon to 3 on the Sports Animal 1390 for Ron Potesta and Sports Wrap. He's a moron and you should listen to him. And that's the way it is for Tuesday, August 29th, 2017. This is Walter Cronkite saying bleep you and good nights.
And welcome back to Yards After Contact, our final segment here to wrap up our show from week 2 of the high school football season, going into week 3. Geez, anything excites you about more or less this weekend? I know Ursula Hoven's going to be a good one. Geez, it's going to be hard for the Irish to win that one.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm excited. I want to see the freshman quarterback from Hoban. I want to see
do
a
too.
couple.
I think I'm going to go to
of
that
them
game.
guys.
I think I'm going to go to that.
I didn't.
He's from Fitch, I understand.
Yeah,
Is that
he's
true?
he's an Austintown kid. I don't
Wow.
know how
Yeah.
Coach Terrell he finds them all over the place, man.
He's can recruit.
Yeah. So.
I hate to say that
Yeah.
word, but
But that's one I want to see. I think Urson took a step forward, so hopefully maybe they could rebound. I'll tell you what. In all my years of coaching and being around, all these coaches got a break. Has it got above 70 any of these Fridays for the first couple of weeks?
I know,
man?
but that means I hope the winners aren't going to be.
Yeah, but you know what
much.
though? It's football weather in September,
is.
which you don't catch too often. So that part I'm excited to see. But I'm gonna catch that game. I know there's a couple other.
Gerard's here tonight. They play Kennedy.
That's one that's gonna be a heck of a game. I think I was telling you earlier that they have some guys that aren't eligible that can be some good guys, but they still have a bunch of guys who played last year in the state championship game. They're 2-0, so I think
Gerard could be 3-0. I mean, there's a chance.
yeah.
I mean,
you
haven't seen that too often here.
And Coach Pearson, I mean, those guys, they were due, man. And we talked about when you start a quarterback from times they're a freshman and he's still playing as a junior, you
And
can
he
only
can
get
run
better.
and throw.
Yeah, he's a big kid, so I think it's big for them to be 3-0 if they can get there. But things also got a little winning streak to keep intact. JFK, so we'll see.
Poland's got Jefferson.
Mhm.
I would think that's a victory. I don't know for sure. I don't know anything about Jefferson.
Me either, but once again, they've had a quarterback since he's a freshman, and those 2 linemen those are big kids, and they said that they're not the biggest on the team, so they got to be big up front. So I don't know how Jefferson is, but they'll be in for something on Friday.
I was telling the Poland kids before we started tonight. I saw their Gerard scrimmage, and they just shredded the Gerard's defense. So
Yeah.
their offense is sort of the real deal.
I heard they gave they gave Boardman trouble in their that
Yeah,
Boardman Poland
I was at
scrimmage,
that.
and
I
I
saw
think
that as well.
Boardman's pretty good. So
So what do you think of Boardman? They have a make or break game. 2-0 last year after beating Cardinal Mooney. 2-0 this year, going into Mass away at Mass and Jackson. Think they have a chance? They got a good quarterback too over there. Jackson, and Mike O'Hara's pretty good quarterback himself at Boardman.
obviously this is
A wrestler,
probably
by the
a
way.
big revenge game for them guys and getting it going down there in Jackson. They've always kind of coin flip with them in Jackson a lot, but I think
Jackson's becoming a better football school.
yeah, you know what? But
They used to
talk
just be a
about
basketball.
talk about that R word that you're not supposed to say in high school football. but
Recruiting.
You got to deal with the likes of our guy in McKinley and down there in Massillon, and then they're kind of.
Are you saying it's competitive down there?
I would say it's
for
a little
players.
Bit, yeah, it's a little bit competitive down there for them to get guys.
But when you
and-
got Dan Reardon's home field, how could you not want to?
Well, that's what I mean. I don't even so much think
Oh,
that
my
he's
goodness.
recruiting as much as it's like, man, look at the stadium
Look
you
at
want
where
to
you
play
get to
at.
play in. The locker
Yeah.
rooms are fantastic. The
Yeah.
facility, everything about it, and
But like I
and
said-
you're playing for a great coach.
And once again, it's
From
not
Ursel.
so much recruiting, but it's that, or you want to go play at Massillon, Washington, that where it all started at. So
Sure.
you got to compete with those things. But
Are we worried about Fitch at all off to a slow start?
I think you talked about Chikari. He's a good player. I think they'll get it rolling. From what I heard, they were a little young themselves, a couple of them, except for those couple guys. But I think, as I said earlier in the show, some of the names that have been down and taken their lumps, now they're 2-0. So I think it's some of these other teams are due, and hopefully, I'd like to see all these teams getting rolling in the area.
Are you excited about the season and what's coming? How things are starting
Yeah.
out so far.
I'm excited. I'm just excited that football's back.
Yeah.
I think this is where
The weather's
college
great.
football is going to really kick in this weekend. Big game for
Go
your
Bucks.
Buckeyes. Big game for my Irish. But it's good to see some new names, some old new names back in it. That are 2-0 and competing in high school. So I think it's getting to the point where it's make or break. If you win this week and you're 3-0, you're guaranteed to be 500 in those first 5, and you just got to win those different parts of your season.
Well, I'm anxious to talk to Ryan Williams. From talking with him about, if we think Poland has a chance to maybe, do you think since '99 was the last time?
Well, listen, you look at their schedule, I think it lines up perfect for them. I believe,
Canfield,
this week
week
they have
10.
Jefferson. You're going to have Howland, who's going to be a little bit rebuilding, but if you really look at their schedule, if they can get through a Howland, who they've traditionally have had some trouble
Which
with.
they should.
If they can get through them, it kind of rolls. You have Struthers and Canfield on there. So, I think Coach Brungard left high expectations there, and I think he's going to get them right back to where they were.
I think South Range is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I've saw Boardman a couple times now, if you count the preseason. I think Boardman's going to surprise teams. This Jennings kid is a nice addition to their team. Maurice Picard's a nice addition to their team. Michael O'Hara's the quarterback there. He seems to be able to run in, throw the ball.
Yeah.
And if he runs even more, Coach Joe Ignazio, if he runs even more, I think that'll open up the team even more.
I
because
think that
the passing is probably their weakest part right now. And I think if they get better in the passing game, they could cause some trouble. And that's saying a lot because Boardman hasn't been relevant in a lot of years, and I even tell them that a lot.
I love Michael O'Hara. I love his dad. I was kind of
That's a great guy.
I was hard on them guys going into. I thought he was a senior last year. Knowing that he's a young guy, and that
he played at CVCA his
yeah,
freshman year, started, so he's a 3-year starter.
It made a lot of sense. Some of those young mistakes he made, but he's already looking a little bit better. I think Coach Ignazio knows what he's doing, but hey, you see these stat lines for these Canfield players. They got these quarterbacks.
Is Canfield the real deal?
They're rushing for 300-400 yards. These quarterbacks.
We got to get Coach Pavlansky down there.
Yeah, and those guys, we'll see.
Are they the real deal? You think?
I don't know.
He's talked. I saw him today. I went to talk to him to try to get him on the show tonight. He had commitments. He thinks they got a really strong club. Week 10 ought to be, if nothing else, should be just a great game.
Canfield's one of those schools that's just like, quietly they're 8-2, quietly they're 7-3, quietly they're 9-1. And now they run into a St. Bede's or somebody.
They've had a few bad years, so
yeah,
they need a good strong season.
So I think they got the.
And they come out with a great start. Anytime they beat Louisville, that's like an arch enemy.
Yeah.
To start the season.
It's the same thing, which is like I was talking earlier. They got a bunch of tough wrestlers there, and they're just tough kids. They come out and they do their job. They run the ball. They know they're doing it. You talk about that stat guy earlier. They get you excited, but we were having a conversation here on Saturday. When you think about how football has changed, how good were the running backs back? It's when you played and things that people knew that they were running the ball, that the passing wasn't what it was, and these guys were 1,500-yard rushers. So you got Sean Patton, who just passed away. These teams, they were making runs on these great Ursuline backs, and just you knew it was coming, but yet they still were
I like football back in the early '80s. It's a lot different now. Kids don't even take the snap under center anymore. They grow up that way, and they go to college and the pros, and probably never been under center. Some of these guys, but it's this area just. It's not the best football in Ohio.
Yeah.
We've kind of all agree on that, but it's good football in Ohio, and it's good.
So how do you feel about your Buckeyes this weekend?
I felt good last year going into Oklahoma, at Oklahoma with a younger team.
Yeah.
So certainly with all their losses, Mixon and Pirine and the receiver, I think on paper, I think my Buckeyes have a great chance. I'm not disappointed. First half I was.
Yeah.
Last week, but we overcome that with Indiana and the better team. They played solid in the second half and did what they needed to do. I think, it should be a great atmosphere. I think the weather's going to be good, tailgating all day. I'm blessed to have my 17th season, and right now my health is doing well. It's doing better, so I'm looking forward to having a great year down in Columbus, and I think, it could be a special year, but they got to win Saturday. There's no question about that.
I always mess with you a little bit about the Buckeyes, and I think I were saying today, See, I last year, it's been 2 years since I could make a joke about Notre Dame after Labor Day.
Thanks. You and Ron Potesta there.
Yeah, Gary texted us today and said, "Hey, Ron, make sure you bring your one-liners." And I said, "If you want to hear a funny one, how about the Buckeyes secondary?" But
they improved in the
at the
second
same
half.
time, I will say this:
They made
their
adjustments.
Their D-line
It's
is
phenomenal.
It's probably the best in the
Joey,
country.
Nick Bosa's an animal, and the
Hubbard,
rest of them.
and those guys.
Jalen Holmes, Chase Young is a freshman 5-star recruit who Jalen Holmes said could be a first pick in the NFL draft
Yeah.
someday.
My dad is actually. I got him tickets. He's a big Oklahoma fan, so he'll be
Nice.
down there. He's.
And of course,
he's
there's
excited
love for
the game.
Oklahoma with Stoops'
Yeah.
family here, and it's a shame Bobby's not at the helm anymore. But sure, there's still a lot of Oklahoma fans,
Yeah.
and I think they'll have a good showing, and it'll be a good football game. Baker Mayfield's no joke, obviously, and I'm sure he's got some weapons and a new coach. We'll see if he can overcome that. I think Urban has the advantage
Now,
for many reasons.
Your stadium, it'll be a little bit more raucous than Notre Dame's will be. Against we played Georgia this weekend, which
Oh,
is
nice.
a huge game. It's a night game.
Home?
But they're
Nice.
calling it actually. They're billing it as Georgia North because they sold 40,000 Georgia tickets so far. Think
Wow.
about that. So it's gonna be a lot
Those
of
teams don't really come north a lot.
But you know what? When you get a chance, it's similar to Ohio State. When you get a chance to see a stadium with a history like Notre Dame,
question.
a lot of those, if you're a fan, I'm going to go to
Yeah.
one away game a year.
Yeah.
You go to a game like that, and I've been reading that it's the toughest ticket to get at Notre Dame since they played Florida State in '93.
Because a lot of Georgia fans want
Yeah,
it.
a lot of ND fans want to see the new video boards and everything. So you know what? Their quarterback's out, so we'll see. We were also laughing. I get on the message boards and everything. They make the statement, well,
You're
man,
a social media guy.
a little. I read. I like to read. I like to see what people have to say and get my little tidbits. But people were saying, man, I wish. It's too bad that Eason's out. I'd like to beat him at their best, man. I'd
That's
like
their
to beat him
quarterback.
however I can take it, man.
Take the W.
Yeah, I don't care if they leave their whole offense at home somehow and they forget him. I'll beat them however we can.
Now, I'm sure you love your stadium, Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Been there many times?
I've been there probably 30 to 40 times.
Wow.
Last year was the first year I didn't go since I've been 7 years old. So my wife is killing
Once a
me.
year,
She
twice
wants
a year?
to see it. Yeah, at least once a year.
At least once a year.
She wants to see it real bad. I'll be honest with you. I don't get the access like you do, where I'm on the field and seeing the pictures and those things. So for me, I love watching it on TV, man, where I get the best camera angles.
I enjoyed the Indiana game. I didn't make the trip.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't up to it pretty much but I enjoyed watching it with my
Now
buddies.
you got to watch it with Joe Markovich. So I don't know how you pull that one off, man.
We have a
but
good time watching the games. And now I was
we
asking
may
you
have
about
to
the
get him
stadium.
on the show if we have an hour to kill one day.
I was asking about the stadium. What do you think? Ohio State? Have you been there? Or
I was
can
there.
you compare them? Garden
was-
of Eden compared to Notre Dame?
I was there.
How do you feel about that?
I was there actually. I think it was their attendance record at the time. The USC game.
Okay.
Maybe
Night game. It was a night
9 or
game.
10, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
Goes by
it was
so fast.
crazy.
Wow.
The atmospheres were different. I was at the first Notre Dame game, I believe in 2012.